from the 6th of July, I'm wearing General Mkwhanazi. From the 6th of July, I'm smelling General Mkwhanazi. And this is the first opportunity that I'm getting to explain myself. And I'm going to do justice to that. And I'm pleading with you to give me the opportunity to do that, considering as well that he has gone to the commission for quite a long time, piling the accusations and so on. So I'm responding to those.
On a point of order.
Honourable Minister, why of assuming, because it's not specifically mentioned here that this is a reference to the political killings task team. Why is the political killings task team singled out from a number of other specialist teams that are criticized for the same reason, that they run rampant, that they don't account for their money, they are taken from various stations?
Because they are not, in terms of the evaluation, they are not as coordinated as they should be. And they write down that they run rampant and so on. In other words, as part of what they need to correct. It was self-criticism.
Now, I mean, we've had this discussion for quite a few minutes now, and I'm not sure that all of us understand or are clear about what you are saying, and I obviously say this with due respect. So my question is this: where was this discussed with the people who could or do understand what you would be referring to? Did you get into a room where this was discussed? Was Lieutenant General Khumalo present? Was Lieutenant General Mkwhanazi present, speaking for the political killings task team, and some other senior officers talking about other specialist task team, narcotics, illegal mining? Maybe they could have made out a case and said, please, don't disband me. Don't reintegrate me as this plan suggests or proposes. Don't reintegrate me into murder and robbery, because we're doing well. Here are our statistics. We're effective.
The process started in 2019. I was not there. All right. They then say, this is the work study.
Okay.
You now have to implement it, and so on and so on. When I come during my time, this is last year, everybody is there. We're discussing the structure, the new organizational structure. Building on this evaluation, among other things, and so on. So we're now in 2024. Everybody is there up to the signing in May this year. Nobody was not there. Nobody was not there. Everybody was there. Nobody, for instance, said, when we were looking at the organizational structure for the 7th administration, nobody said, I'm raising my hand, feature in the new organogram the political killings task team and make it a unit everywhere. It didn't happen. That's why you don't see it in the signed organizational structure in May this year. It's because it's a team. It's not a unit, and there was no one who said include it or integrate, because if they had said so, then it would have been pointed out that it is already integrated. The work of political killings is already integrated not only for KZN, but all over the country, because the structure caters for everybody in the country.
That this was already approved by the time you assumed the position of Minister of Police, but there was a failure or
implementation was slow. Was slow. It had not reached the level where you could then do away or disband the National Political Killings Task Team. That's why they extended its life up to 2022 via motivations, via presentations, and then the National Commissioner and the Minister sign that we extend the existence of the National Political Task Team, which will then extend or provide finance or funding. So these two things needed to go parallel together in order to meet the obligations of the PFMA, so that you don't fund a structure outside the organogram perpetually without accounting properly for it in terms of the objective for which it was created right from 2018. And you needed to act responsibly now and say, by the way, what are the imperatives of the new administration? What do we have? What do we need to improve? What do we need to change? Which has happened. And in our discussions, we find that some of these things that we're discussing had already happened in terms of decision and thinking. The budget became quite a difficult subject. I want to, on my supplement, say something about this. It came to a point where, on the budget, we had to consider certain things. One of them is what I had the National Commissioner mention during the commission, Madlanga Commission, and subsequent I heard, when I listened to Khumalo, General Khumalo, I heard him say, I will repeat those things. They were, in responding to questions that were asked, responded using the language inclusive of traditional ways of investigation, normal ways of investigating, common ways of investigating. Of course, they were responding. But what it revealed, without them intending to do so, was that in police, we make a differentiation between a way in which political killings task team, which is efficient, which is good, the way in which they investigate cases, good. Let me not talk about results, just good, that they approach things that way. But this is confined to a specific category of people. The rest of the people are condemned to common ways of investigating, traditional ways of investigating, and common ways of investigating. Now, from where I sit as minister, we can't go on like that. You can't say, because it's a public representative, I must employ this particular specialized way of investigating. But because it's not a public representative or it's not an induna, let us use the normal or traditional or common way of investigation. The Constitution doesn't say so. What we rather can do is to take the experience that the National Political Task Team has gone through. You then make it apply all over as a good practice, different from the practice that is called traditional, that is called normal. To me, this is one of the ticking bombs in the South African Police Service, especially when you pronounce it that there are various levels of in terms of quality of investigating. That talks to your ethics. It talks to your kind of mentality, the kind of practice that you want to see established and perpetrated within SAPS. You don't want to do that from my side. And the Constitution does allow us to do that. We need to improve. If there's a particular experience that we've gained from a province in one way or the other, let it be taken and duplicated elsewhere, because everybody requires speciality and attention. We can't justify it on an ongoing basis. It's unfair and unconstitutional. If a political intervention can establish a task team, why can't the same political intervention be allowed when it comes to disestablishing the political killings task team? It can, because you can't on one hand create something and then you are told you can't. The president appoints a minister, for instance, but due to powers given to him, when he wants to disappoint you, he can't be told by somebody you needed to have consulted the fellow and so on. He disappoints you. He just makes a statement, you are no longer a minister. And in some cases, at some point, you would just have a press briefing elsewhere without even telling the fellow. And then the fellow will see how. There's a new one. So that which was born through political intervention can be unborn, can be disestablished via. It's one thing to disagree, but that disagreement must not, people can always refer because it's an argument, but I believe that I didn't act outside the Constitution and outside legislation for the reasons that I've given. And that at the center of it, it was not the National Commissioner who established this. He was directed to do it by a political intervention emanating from the president. And this is what I believe actually happened. Let me go on. And I believe that the decision to disband the PKTT, as I've said, was for lawful reasons. It was not for unlawful reasons. Not at all. Well, I know that when General Mkwhanazi made a statement, among other things, the accusation was that I disbanded this because I wanted to protect criminal syndicates. I want criminal syndicates. I want them. But not that I wanted to protect them. And I will say how I have demonstrated in the past that I want them. So it was for lawful reasons, not for unlawful reasons. And it didn't come from anyone else. It came from me as Minister of Police. And I have capacity to think to that level in my role. I may be wrong, I may be right, but the decision was not for unlawful reasons. As a matter of fact, I have nothing to do with criminal syndicates myself. I've never had anything to do with them in my life. Not once. And not Amber. Not Amber. It has never happened. And it will never happen. It will never happen. Well, accusation is another when I'm accused, but I know I'm being investigated. But I know that at the same time, statements have been made in this comment that I'm no criminal. General Mkwhanazi knows in his conscience that I'm not a criminal, that I have nothing to do with criminal syndicates. He knows.
Does it or would it concern you that Brown Mkhotsi whom I think you said you do know him.
Did I say?
Brown Mkhotsi.
What did I say?
I said, you must correct me that you do know him, or you know of him, Brown Mkhotsi. You're nodding yes?
Yes, I know him.
Yes, you know. Now,
Yes, I know him.
Now, my question is, would it bother you that you issued your directive, it appears at 5:20 on the 31st of December 2024, is that right?
Yes.
Thank you. Because that we picked up from, I think, the affidavit of Masimola. So would it concern or bother you that at 10:38, Mkhotsi sends a WhatsApp to Kat Matlala indicating, and I quote from the WhatsApp, the task team that came to your house and arrested you has been dissolved / disbanded, exclamation mark.
10:30 on the same day.
On the same day. On January 1st, Mkhotsi informed Matlala.
On January the 1st?
Yeah.
Okay.
That he would be meeting with you and Lieutenant General Sibiya. He says in a text message, "Good day, I've arranged a meeting for Sibiya and the minister. Must have a solution."
There are two questions there. The first one is, would it concern me that Mkhotsi seems to have...
Shortly after you
yes,
should...
It would concern me.
It would?
It would concern me. Okay. Because I wouldn't know how that happened. But not only when my letter found its way into his hands on the date and time, it would have concerned me if my letter found its way into any other person's hand. I would similarly worry how it happened. And therefore the answer is straight. It would worry me. I would be very much concerned. Now, about this meeting, which is my second response, that he would arrange a meeting. It is him, apparently, who talks about that, not me. I never, and I want to repeat, I never spoke to Brown Mkhotsi in this period, particularly about the disbandment. How he got to know, how he got access to the letter, it is better explained by him. And that will be the only time that I would get to know how it happened. But about this meeting, there was no such meeting on my side. I want to contest that, and I've contested that. I am saying there is evidence of discussions and decisions as from 2019 on the political killings task team. That was a long time before I came. It took the form of a new organogram with specialized units in subs, which were meant to focus on specific issues regarding crime, fighting crime in South Africa that was in the offing at that time in the country, and a structure which was a change in terms of subs, was designed and it was put there following a study. It took some time before that study was completed or even that structure could then be implemented. But at some point, and in the process, there were then extensions on the work of the political killings task team. And it took that form. But there was already a view, a very strong view, that the political task team, National Political Killings Task Team, is a temporal structure. It's not a permanent feature in the constitution, in the organogram. Even at that time, as early as that time, 2019, a year after the Political Killings Task Team was there, and long before I came. And then the structure was there. And then last year, we start discussing the organogram. And we pull up everything, all the things that I'm talking about. And we come up with the organizational structure. And this organizational structure bears features of what had been discussed in the work study from 2019 to a great extent. I even said, take note of the fact that the new structure that has been signed, which we started last year, has ORS. Take note of that. Separated now from VISPOL, and that's a new development. But they did say it was at one point there, but they did away with it. And I said, take note of the fact that we have removed the police inspectorate in the new organogram. And take note that there is Political Killings Task Team as a subunit in the new organogram, just like it had been recognized during the work study that you must have units now in a coordinated way. The signed organizational structure, if you have it now in the form that it is, but you keep the current structure, or you keep the team, the National Political Killings Task Team, you will irresponsibly overstretch your budget unnecessarily. That's one. You will duplicate functions within the organogram. 3, you will have people who will not be used or will not be utilized. Now, these are people called people within the serious and violent crimes unit, which has been created. And it will have an impression, it will also overlap to organized crime unit, which is there, but you still keep one other temporal structure outside the organogram, which is approved and which is budgeted for. And my argument is that it will not be responsible. It will not be rational to do so, because the structure already provides for that. And worse, it provides for that, including in the Eastern Cape, including in the Western Cape, including in Gauteng, not just KZN, the 4 provinces that are heavily affected by crime. So you won't have to take 10 people from KZN to go and assist in Gauteng. You will not have to have Fort Hare like incidents, and then you go and say, I'm borrowing people from KZN. Why would you do that? You will have a sustained and sustainable organizational structure operated by us at a national level. And to me, that makes sense, and it will work better. And the current budget that we are using for a separate, standalone National Political Killings Task Team will be infused and will be utilized and evenly distributed throughout the country. To me, it makes absolute sense to do so. Okay. And it is responsible to do so. Okay. And it will cater for our needs all over. And especially if you put in the new division that we're talking about to assist SAPS uniform, and to assist even the units that will be functioning in those 4 provinces. But the structure provides for functionality and existence of those units in all other provinces. And I'm saying to you, Central, we do not exist as South African police to just investigate incidents of killings for councillors. We don't. There is no such a mandate. SAPS has to serve everybody. Even if you've got to make sure that the resources of the country are used to the best of your ability to protect the people of South Africa, not a particular group of people. It is not like that. And we've got to tackle this particular issue, that there are no better lives than the others who are equal in South Africa. So you can't have a task team solely dedicated to a particular grouping of people somewhere, and not, if you have to have a taxi violence unit, it must be everywhere where there is tax violence. And this structure is designed to have just that. You're not going to have a structure for taxi people in Mpumalanga alone, and you say, whenever there's taxi violence in Western Cape and also, you will borrow people from there. And I'm saying I'm answering to the imperatives of the 7th administration, and that is what it says. And they're different from other imperatives in any other term. So I am here to share information. And to the best of my ability, when there was a leak on my letter, and General Mkwhanazi, this letter, these directives landed on him. He responded in a particular way. And it was either on the 2nd or 3rd of January. That is before this WhatsApp came. When he responds to the Chief of Staff, one of the things that the Chief of Staff did was to phone me to say, Minister, General Mkwhanazi is in possession of the letter. Apparently the letter leaked and so on, because I heard it from him, Chief of Staff, that there was this letter leaked. So it says it leaked. Oh, okay. Then he says, hey, but Minister, he's very angry. He's angry about what? About your letter, not about the leak, about the letter. How is General Mkwhanazi angry about my letter to the National Commissioner, which has been leaked to him, but it is going to the National Commissioner? Minister is very angry. Oh, so what is he saying? There's, well, a number of things that came, but I'm going to just summarize.
This is Kabini.
Kabini talking to me about his conversation with General Mkwhanazi in response to my letter, to the leaked letter.
And when is this? This must be in early January.
It's early January, Senior Council.
So this is before the SM.
It's before this.
The meeting.
Yes. It says it's angry. Okay. Further to that, he is saying the minister must withdraw this letter. He's talking to my Chief of Staff. Withdraw the letter. Yes, the letter of directives. Why? He is angry. He is angry. That was the running message to me. Oh, okay. Let me just pause and think about anger and say something about anger. When you are angry about a particular situation, my take is that there could be somebody else who is also angry, but you may not be in touch with those people or that person. So you may not know the weight of anger of the other people in relation to your weight of anger. So it's just a natural thing that will affect somebody's feelings and you'll react in a particular way, but it can't be policy of a country. It can't instruct, it can't guide the minister that somebody is angry somewhere because of what, and then you say you must shape your thoughts according to the anger of somebody, because somebody else may be less angry or even more angry.
Yes, sir.
So it's a very difficult. So let me go on. So it says angry. Okay. And it says withdraw. You need to withdraw.
That's what Kambindi tells you.
That is what Kambindi tells me.
Mkwhanazi
Draw the letter. It's quite strong. Number 3, I mean, in a long conversation over days, because I'm summarizing. He then says beyond that, if the minister doesn't withdraw, there's going to be a fight back. A fight back. And I underlined that term. It means that it would be a fight back directed to me as the writer of the letter. A fight back. Why would General Mkwhanazi want a fight back? What attack? What's the war about?
We had a taste of it on the 6th of July.
Pardon?
We had a taste of it on the 6th of July when he had the media briefing.
On underlining that fight back that he is said to have mentioned as a term to Mkwhanazi, I then said, well, let's see, Chief of Staff, let's watch the space and see what's going to happen. And if you want me to jump to July, I would say to you, that event of July was triggered by my letter of the 31st of November, because I didn't know what the fight back would be about, what it would entail, what form it would take. But it did inform me about what could be his feelings and intentions to fight back. That minister has written directives to the national commissioner, and a provincial commissioner wants a fight back, and that he wants the minister to withdraw the letter. And one of the things that was racing in my mind, how does this affect General Mkwhanazi to a point where he would say he wants there's going to be fight back? But let me pass that because we need to move. But let me just complete that, even though the recording doesn't capture it. So part of what they discussed was what I thought was going to come here to say, if the minister is clean, knows that he's clean, he can then proceed with the disbandment. And to me, that was a threat. And it was also a promise that somebody is going to go back and say, what did I do wrong while I was MEC, while I was Premier, while I was in water? And I have no problem with that. I have no problem. People can go and start from day one when I was MEC, check any wrong and Premier and water. Those things are fine. But in the context in which it was said, it becomes a weapon. It becomes a weapon to say, don't do this, even if it's correct, even if it is lawful, even if it's constitutional, because I don't like it. If you do it, I'll go and dig what you did wrong at some point, if there is. And I don't think that people should take it for granted that the wrong things that I did that constitutes unlawfulness during those periods.
Because we'd also been asked about it before it was even played. Whether is this the way conversations, telephonic conversations or other online conversations with your chief of staff was was handled, that they were recorded, apparently without the consent of in this case, Mkwhanazi. And Mkwhanazi, I think, mentioned in his evidence that some version, a bit distorted apparently, appeared on social media, and he wasn't happy about that. So,
Yeah,
so the question is just that: are you aware that your chief of staff, obviously, you know, he recorded it, he mentioned it to you, but is this the way you conducted things in your office?
No. No.
Okay, then maybe we'll ask him for a reason why he recorded Mkwhanazi without his consent, or is there a legal reason that you as a minister and your chief of staff can record conversations with people under the Cyber Act or some legislation?
Now, we don't record people. I'm not aware of anybody in my office who have ever recorded a person, but in this instance, it's me who advised the chief of staff to say, you may need to record your conversations with General Mkwhanazi because of the threats. It was not because for the commission, I wasn't thinking about the commission or any other thing, because he kept on saying, General Mkwhanazi is angry. When a person says, so-and-so is angry with you, you take it serious.
So can we just understand that even before this recording, Mkwhanazi had phoned Gabinde and spoke to him in a threatening, because who decided that his conversation must henceforth be recorded?
First, he just told me that there's a threat. He's angry. He's saying 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then he came back, I think third time in one day, as they continued to talk. And at some point I felt that the way things are developing, it looks like they're developing fast and they've got anger inside, but they now have threats inside. Now, when he mentioned this one of if the minister knows he's clean, no, I think it came before that one that I said, now we may now need to record. It was after he spoke about fight back. I don't think fight back was recorded, but I think it was at that point when I said, being experienced as I am, I felt that this may develop to something else. Then I said record, but that one of threatening on what I may have left in the Premier's office, when he mentioned that, I felt that, so there's a threat here. Okay. So we are discussing, he is wanting to meet me and so on, to discuss the disbandment, which is fine. Okay. I'm fine with, but so when it says, it sounded like a compromise. So you want to compromise me on things that as a matter of principle, I have to consider in my work. But because you don't like it, you then issue a threat and you date it back where it worked. It constituted the environment. Let me move on. So
Gabinde decided, he took it upon himself to record this discussion.
I advised the chief of staff.
You told him to record it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I said, you may need to consider recording, because okay. I don't normally have a discussion with a person and then you get threats in your work environment. And I didn't understand why.
Fanele ngabe ubhalile la ukuthi akayiyeke lento mengabe clean.
He should have written it down herein. If you said he should stop this thing if he is clean. And if he never took anything from anybody. So such information is very crucial. He should have written those if he was listening to our telephonic conversations. Because he was not going to deliberately omit that, because it is in line with what he has alleged. Around all the issues he has raised. He has not even raised the issue of the warrant. You have correctly explained it, that all this is about a fight back.
I'm sure now Monisha phela ngoba uyamazi awuqala ukumazi manje. Ukuthi kuzoba ne fight back la mawuzazi uclean.
And you want him because you know him. You did not know him just now. You have known him for a long time. And fight backs are always there.
Yeah, because that's what they're going to do.
Because if you tamper with the police, yet you are not clean, police will go after you. I will stop there, Chairperson.
Okay, thank you so much. Honorable Minister, is this the part that you wanted us to hear?
It doesn't seem that it is a part, it's another conversation, but it may be that conversation, that part of the conversation between the two was not the one when he had started recording, but he did, we did talk.
No, thanks, Chair. I think we must put it simple because it's going to be a serious issue. Did the President agree to the disbandment of PKTT?
The answer in the affidavit is that I briefed the President, he agreed with the briefing I gave him.
So, Honorable Minister, is the answer yes?
Yes, as is in the affidavit.
The answer is yes. The answer which we must record is yes.
Yes.
Thank you.